Today, something very special. Generative AI, not from OpenAI, Stability, or Midjourney, but from, wait for it, Adobe. Well trained and safe for work, it does something the other technologies don't. It generates utterly unique, one-of-a-kind type effects, which is huge. 2023 is going to be known as the year that Adobe once again transformed the look of the written word, and it's called Firefly. You are going to love this one. Now, I want to stress right up front that any and everything I'm showing you is subject to change. This is a website, after all, and this is AI, so rapidly changing technology. However, the big, broad brushstrokes should remain the same. For example, you'll be able to enter some form of text prompt. Just describe the effect that you're looking for and apply it to some text. In my case, I can also start off with a preset. So notice this guy right here, black and gold dripping paint. That is going to be the prompt, and that is going to be the letter as well. It's going to be the letter N against a yellow background. Now, because we're just affecting one letter here, it should go relatively quickly. I say that knowing that this site is going to be hit hard early on, and so it may perform pretty sluggishly. I mean, it's a bunch of remote servers someplace, probably all over the place. I don't know. Anyway, notice how very cool that is. And we have 4 different variations to select from. They should all be absolutely 100% unique. So what you're seeing on screen will not match what you see on screen, and that's a wonderful thing. Now, if you try out all of the 4 variations down here and you don't like what you see, then click refresh. In order to refresh that effect, notice there's the prompt right there, black and gold dripping paint. So even if you don't have a predefined effect to that effect, then you can just go ahead and enter that prompt if you're so inclined. And I'm just going to go ahead and switch to another variation. Oh, that looks so good. Now, I want to show you something. You can change the input text up here. It's currently on the right-hand side at the top. It could be in the left-hand side at the bottom. I don't know. I'm going to hit the caps lock key and just enter a 5-letter word because that's going to look pretty good. And notice that some letters are going to update before others. The 4th effect is still selected down here at the bottom. I could switch to the 2nd effect if I wanted to, the 2nd variation. And now I'm going to show you something else. I'll go ahead and scroll down. That's the way it works right now, is down, by the way. And notice the background color is set to this mustard or whatever it is. I don't want that. Even if I had gradients, and I'm sure in the future you'll be able to AI the background, but for right now, I would just set it to transparent because otherwise you're stuck with this background, because when you go here to click the download button, wherever it may be, and you'll want to do that often, by the way, because every time you see something you like, you should download it. Why not? You want to keep it, right? Because otherwise you're going to lose it the second you click a different button. But anyway, with a transparent background, you've got a ping file that has transparency. So you can set these letters against any other imagery background, photographic background, if you like, inside Photoshop. You can affect the text color as well as you like, if you like, that is. So I could just change it to, let's try something like blue and see if it has an effect. It won't necessarily, depending on how the effect is manifested on screen. So it may introduce a little bit of color. It may not. In my case, didn't really work very much. We'll see that at length in the future. I want you to also see that we have fonts. Not a ton of fonts, by the way, but we do have a few fonts that are available. View all in order to see them all. I'm going to go with this guy, Poplar, and that's because it's rounded and it's condensed, and that way the characters are better filling my screen, as we can see right here. So we have those rounded corners. And notice that the AI effect is not only creating this wonderful, lustrous pattern, if you will, but it's also modifying the characters. It's actually getting in there and fussing with the shape of the letter forms, which is awesome. So lest you sit here and look at this and think, harumph, I could do this without this fancy AI. I don't need this stupid site. I could just go ahead and find some clip art or my own photographs for that matter, and I can mask them. No, you can't. You can't do something like this quickly. There's no way in heck you're going to pull this off. And so these are a different kind, a whole different variety, different family of text effects than we've ever seen before. All right, what about this guy right here? Text effect fit. What's going on with that? Well, right now it's set to medium. By default, that's the way it is right now. And notice that that allows the drips to kind of drip downward. We have a few splatters down here underneath the letters. We've got some going on over on the left-hand side as well. If you want splatters all over the place, notice that rough edge of the N right there. These letter forms just take a beating, which is awesome in my opinion. Also notice the bar for the H kind of goes down and to the right, making it a little bit more like an N. Anyway, if you want to loosen things up, try loose. That's what it's called right now. For all I know, in the future, we'll have like 15 different variations, but right now we have 3. And check it out. The paint is getting splattered all over the place. Now, a caveat, something to keep in mind. What we're seeing is fairly representative. In other words, we actually have more height than this, more going on up at the top and the bottom than we're seeing right now. So we're not going to get this much clipping, but we are going to get some clipping. You have to be ready for that. And you're going to get more clipping, is my experience, on the right sides, the right and left-hand sides, that is, when you go to download. And so that means you're going to have to do some hand masking. You may have to paint in a few details as well if you decide to go this loose. Another thing, this is the way it works now. Don't know if it's going to continue to. You can zoom out. So however you zoom out with your particular browser can make it so that you keep more of this stuff over on the right and left-hand sides, for that matter at the bottom and the top as well. But when you go to download, it'll also be a lower resolution effect. So the image is always the same resolution, but that is the same number of pixels. It's just that the actual letters are going to take up fewer of those pixels. Understand they're going to be smaller, which is why I'm going to zoom back in, and I tend to right now, when in doubt, switch to tight. Just tighten the effect, and that way you're going to have cleaner edges and you're going to have less stuff getting clipped, even with a very drippy, gooey effect like this, because I think this is plenty gooey, plenty drippy, that is. We don't have splatters all over the place, but that's okay by me. All right, another thing you'll want to know, and this is a big one, is that we have a bunch of effect presets. I'm going to click View All. This has got to change. They're not going to be the same presets. I am going to walk you through all of them because there are currently 24 of them. But rather than sitting here and clicking on one, for example, I want you to see this guy right here is called Snakeskin. I'll go ahead and click on it as I narrate something else while this effect is applied. Notice down here that even though the effect is called Snakeskin, just want to remind you, the prompt is holographic snakeskin with small shiny scales. So that is a different prompt, a much more specific prompt as well. And as a result, I don't think I'm taking enough time to point out how awesome this stuff is right here. And it's going to be lit from different angles. Isn't that something else? And again, don't like what you see, you just go down here and click refresh. But rather than doing that and, basically having to wait for everything to update, I'm going to switch over to Photoshop. And so here's the very first effect as things stand right now. So again, there's 24 of them. I'm going to work through them in an order. This is watercolor, by the way. So there's the effect name up there. I'm sure this is going to change, but it's going to fill you with wonderment, I assure you. And this is a prompt, watercolor. So they're the same in this case. Next, we have, well, I just showed you, snakeskin, holographic snakeskin with small shiny scales. And that is going to look different every time. Don't imagine that this is some kind of weird static effect. It's just not. It's so amazing. And what about this pink gold balloon? It's called Mylar balloon. It does not turn me on at all. I hate Mylar balloons, but there it is if you like it. Oh, I like this one. Driftwood is cool. Curved weather driftwood. It's like antlers all over the place or something. And notice that the crossbar on the A is made from wood, from a log or something, or, a tree limb, and we got all kinds of stuff going on, knots and stuff in the H. Oh, it's so amazing. I'm going to show you another one just because it just keeps changing. Notice how worn the letter forms are on this one. The M has all kinds of holes in it. This is just not the kind of stuff we've been able to accomplish before without, that is to say, an awful lot of work. I mean, you could do that by hand for sure. Y'all see it a couple of days from now. And then denim jeans. All right. Well, I wasn't that impressed by this. when I first used it, this particular one, because, you know, I don't know. We're really zoomed in on the gene, I guess. So I tried it again. I refreshed. I hit the refresh button and I got boots. Aren't those cool boots, though? I was pretty impressed by this effect. Everything's ending in, oh, these are shoes down here. And this U that's made of boots? Who saw that coming? Not me. All right. So, well, we're nerds. So a bundle of colorful electric wires. That was bound to appear at some point. Orange California poppies. Not for me, but for some. And then, so, sorry for that noise. Sweet is the name of the effect. Melted ice cream. Ice cream cones, like with stuff dripping all over them. And then I thought I want more, and so I made another one like this one right here. And just there's some other yummy chocolatey thing right there. And we got caramel dripping off the top of the U and puddling down below, and whatever this stuff is right here. Oh my goodness, is that a good one? And then we've got rusted metal. I think that's cool. Right, but you know what? Even rusted metal, that's the prompt, can end up surprising you with suddenly bursting into flames. Not something I really associate with rusted metal, but there it is. It is a variation tiger fur. I love this one because at one point it's tiger fur, and try it again and it might be tigers. Just, you know, there they are in the wild. And a great comfy pillow. No, this is boring. I'd be surprised if they include this one, but you know what? You got to dress it up. It's Photoshop. So I dressed it up with some layer effects, and it looks a lot better. It still has some weird drippy thing off the end right there, but it's a lot more legible. Notice that the hole in the A is barely decipherable at first, and then it becomes very easy to see. In case you want to see this kind of stuff, in case you want to manipulate some AI text effects inside Photoshop along with me, then join me at my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Deke now. You got to go to be part of it. Yeah, join me, won't you? Red rock sandstone layers in Arizona. Well, not in Arizona. The preposition's not there, but look, check that out. Oh, that's so beautiful. The effect's called red rock for what it's worth. But you know, I want to emphasize here, if you don't see this particular effect, you can enter that prompt all by yourself. Here's another variation on it. Oh my gosh. First of all, what's with the contouring along the M? It's just matching the letter form. It's matching the letter form on the U too. It's doing not as good a job on the H, but the A suddenly has 3 holes in it. Yes, I love it. How about realistic drip gooey slime? Yep, that's an option. I want to show you something associated with that. I'll go ahead and scroll down this list of presets here. So obviously we're not in Photoshop anymore. And I'll assign slime right there. Now, if I want to modify some other attributes, like for example, I want to mess around with the color, then as things stand now, I'm going to have to go up to the top to effects right here. And I'm going to have to scroll down the list. And I do have a text color of blue. So that is informing my green slime, because if I didn't have a text color, if I clicked on text color right there and set it to none, then we're going to lose any of that coloration. That is to say, we're going to see, I think strictly speaking, we'll see mostly green. And when I say strictly speaking, I mean, well, some other colors as well. But, you know, if you really want to get in there and color it, then here, I'll try this shade of violet right here. Or if that doesn't go far enough, as it probably won't, so it ends up creating a kind of wine-colored effect, as we're seeing right here. And of course, you can play with the variations all you want. Or you could just enter the word purple. You can just enter, add a word to the prompt. Oh, it's in all caps. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's not case sensitive. Doesn't have to be at the beginning, by the way. You don't have to express it in English word order, in other words. And now, notice, now we get some very gooey, purpley effect, and I just can't emphasize enough. You just go nuts. That's what I want you to do. I want you to lose your mind. That's it. Just let it go, and just create as many crazy effects as you want to, and download them. Download the heck out of them, please. Adobe's AI type effects are unlike anything we've seen before, but they aren't necessarily perfect. Specifically, the letters can be a little rough around the edges. They could use some refinement, perhaps even a few layer effects, in none other than Photoshop. Want to join me as we work through 1 or 2 examples? Are you asking me? Then yes, you do. In which case, join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/DekeNow. And now, on with the show. All right, anyway, whether you have a mind left or not, we're back in Photoshop, and I'm going to advance the peacock feather. Isn't that nice? That's lovely. And Icicle. Oh, God. This is so good, in my opinion. This is one of many variations. Sometimes you get tree limbs and stuff in with it. It's crazy. But what I want to stress is how much better these things are than our old style effects that we've been trading with each other for years and years. Deke's Techniques, that's a series of mine that goes on for 1,000 different episodes at LinkedIn Learning. And my very first technique was ice type. And then I revisited it, you don't care, but in 2016, and I made it high res for episode 486. And what, isn't this cool? And you could go ahead and edit this text, by the way. You have to dig into a smart object to make that happen. But no, it's hogwash. What? No, we don't need this anymore. We got this. This is way better looking, and you can make that in about 10 seconds on the fly. Now, that, of course, assumes that the site isn't being hit too hard. I would imagine things are going to slow the heck down once everybody hits the site. I'm lucky because I'm using it. Well, it's just available to a few people. I know. Jealous much? Anyway, look at this. This is another one, another icicle effect. Notice that the prompt is icicle, but this is loose. So you can see how things start getting clipped. See that guy right there? He's a little bit clipped. And there's some stuff over here. If you look closely, these pixels over on the right-hand side are clipped and stuff. I don't know. You know, it's just going to get better, right? Look at the reflectivity in the A. Oh, my God. Is there any reason the icicles go up? No, but it's AI. It doesn't obey the laws of physics. All right, next we have lava explosion, which it's lava rock is the name of the effect. Who cares? But notice the M, the contouring once again over and around the letter form of the N, and the A looks great. I wasn't so happy with the H because it's got like a weird hole in the middle of it or something. I don't know what that's supposed to be. So I just tried it again, and I masked this H into place. Want to see that happen? Go to my Patreon. We're going to be doing all kinds of that kind of stuff inside Photoshop here. All right, what's next? It's pink brain wrinkles right here. And notice the brain coming down into kind of the brain stem of the M. And we got two different lobes for the U. Crazy. And then we've got gold medal. Why does it look like this? Why is it so fragile? And what's with the snake head over here and the implied snake heads in the M and the completely indecipherable N? Well, the prompt is Gold Serpent's photorealistic metal. I don't know who decided serpent should be part of it. Some snake fan. But then I tried it again because that's too fragile, right? And it came out with these nice meaty letters right here. I tried many times to get this, by the way, but notice that serpent head right there. So cool. The U looks so great. So boss. The A just kind of curves around and gets totally organic. Ugh. Oh, I love some of these things. Boring marble granite. I don't love all of them. This you could do in your sleep. Will that preset live? I doubt it. Anyway, it might. Brown maple syrup, though. That's got my name on it, and I say that because it's gooey and lovely. I hate pancakes. I'm a pancake hater, and I know I'm weird, and I just love this effect right here. It looks, oh, that M. What is going on with that M? And then let's see what we got next. Oh, rainbow marbled paper. Totally rad. And it just messes with the letter forms. Look at the cleaves that are going through the M right here. All kinds of divots going on. The kinds of warpitudes we get with this AI technology is it's mind-boggling. It's just awesome. Look at the things are just twirling in on each other here inside the M and the N, that it's the letter N, and the H over here on the left-hand side. I liked it so much I tried it again. And just, if only so we can see that the letter forms are different this time. Things are getting modified very differently. Notice the A is sort of tapering off. Now, you are going to see this a lot, actually, which is kind of bad masking. So you are going to have to, I left it in, but you'll probably want to trim that up, mask it away by hand, that is to say. Red fur, like the movie turning red, fine. And then we have plastic wrap shiny wrinkles. Okay. And finally, one of the most boring of them all, yarn. Blue wool yarn felt. This, yeah, you could do this in your sleep without AI. I can't leave you with that one. Let's go back to Driftwood. Ah, oh, yeah, I could leave you on Driftwood if I had to. This is a new effect, by the way. I'm not showing you anything twice. Look how the wood crosses for the H, and what's this going on the U? And what's next? Well, another melted ice cream. Some more of that. Of course, we got to see that some more. What else do we have to see some more? Rust and metal. I didn't really like this effect. I don't think it's all that good looking, but it's wild that it just turned all of a sudden to scaffolding. Where does that come from? It's the same prompt. I didn't add anything. This is Icicle. You know why I like it. Look, reflections of the buildings in this window and a little snowpacks on the bar to the A right there. And what else we got? Gold Serpent's photorealistic metallic. Of course we got that. So cool. All right, so here we are back in the AI. If only so I can show you some custom prompts. Like, for example, I was inspired by, what was I inspired by? Let's go see it for a second. Why don't we? Might as well have some degree of continuity. I'll click view all. That is for the various presets. I'll hit Red Rock right there. That was my inspiration. I'm going to go back, effects, and I'm going to change the text right there because I wanted to read rock, but I want to show you something. Let's say I've got 2 Ks in a row. Not really how anybody spells rock. However, notice if you do repeat a character, again, this is the way it is now, you repeat the effect as well. And so if you want a different effect for the second K, you would select a different effect like so, and then you would mask the 2 Ks together inside Photoshop. Anyway, that's not what I want, of course. I want Rocky. After the Rockies, not the movie, of course, but I was inspired. So by this, I thought, hey, why just Arizona? Let's get Utah in the mix. Arches National Park, most beautiful place on earth, canyon land as well. Utah. Let's try that out and see what we end up getting. Do I still have a color set to something for text color? I do. I have it set to purple. Notice how the purple is informing the colors of the rocks. Is that not awesome? However, I'm going to switch to text color and I'm going to switch it to this very pale blue so that we have some nice blue sky action going. At least that's what I hope to have. Ooh, a little bit of mist right there. And we have some, or what would that be? That would be haze, of course, is the word I was looking for. But we do have some blue skies as well. All right, so why don't we check out a few other custom prompts? And just to make things quicker, we'll do so inside of Photoshop. So here's a totally different effect. Check out that little guy in the yellow with all these arches going around and the tops of the R right there. And this is, I should acknowledge, I'm going to twirl open this Rocky layer in a layers panel and twirl open its Rocky layer. And a group is what I meant to say. And that's because I have a bunch of different versions of the rock letters. And I've assigned the drop shadow to the group so that we're not amassing a bunch of drop shadows on top of each other. Notice that I am masking things so that we have some beefier letters. Because notice if I turn this letter off, this layer off, that is, and this one, I think, yep, both of them. Notice that the R starts to get very fragile, and I lost a little bit of the foot of the R, so the top as well. And so I decided to add these 2 guys in to kind of bolster the effect. And because I'm assigning the drop shadow to the entire group, then it's assigned uniformly to the letters. Let's see a few more. You can enter any prompt you like. This is just to inspire you, is my hope. Undersea tropical fish adventure is what I use to come up with this stuff right here, these letters. And of course, I'm changing the type all the time. Red dragons, photorealistic, metallic, breathing, fire. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is I am mixing a lot of stuff for this, a bunch of different letters that I came up with. But you're going to have to be ready to do some hand masking because I had white stuff inside of all these little sort of, what are the spine of the dragon. And by the way, I'm going to really go nuts on this one at my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Deke now. And we're going to do this project right here. Yes, you want to be part of it. Please join. All right. So what else did I come out with? Ancient prehistoric ruins, Amazon jungle. Look at this guy right here. Isn't that amazing? And then I thought, well, kaleidoscopic psychedelic rainbow colors. And and this is endless, right? There's no actual real descriptive noun. I mean, the word colors is, of course, a noun, and adjectives are descriptive. But you know what I mean? I'm just letting it riff and come up with whatever I wanted to. And then I came up with this. This is like kind of standard by comparison, but I thought furry zebra stripes. And yes, we're jousting. And notice this guy just turns into a kind of seahorse zebra right there. Totally awesome. I did this one because how many times? I don't know how many times. Maybe zero, but I've seen a lot of people show a lot of different ways to use filters to create zebra stripes on text and other objects. Well, that's all obsolete now because you can do this and it looks way the heck better. Now, I was sharing all this stuff with my wife, who of course was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. But why not just a single word? I'm like, well, because that's not the way it works. When you're creating prompts, you want to be really specific. Like you can write sentences for prompts. And she's like, well, what about just, like the word green? What about that? I'd like to see what it comes up with if you just enter green. And then I changed the type color that we saw just a moment ago. I changed it to that kind of orangish red. I don't know if you saw that one, but you can, of course, change it to any color you like. And that ended up informing the greenness, as you can see right here. And so I got this kind of winter green kind of thing going, evergreen. And then I got this summer green with the happy sunshine coming from the top right corner of the R. And it doesn't even look just ridiculous, like a sun in the top right corner of the child's drawing. It looks awesome. And then check this out. Oh, look at how it dents the H. I just love that kind of stuff. And then it came up with this like farm mural in the background with like, is that a caterpillar? Yeah, it is. And all kinds of other stuff going on. Look at these poofy trees right here that are kind of entering the stem of the H. And then I don't know what's going on, these little pyramids at the bottom of the E. And so I tried it again and I came up with yet another. Now silos, I guess, down there at the bottom of the E. We got a little peak in the A. We got some extruded 3D edges at the base of the top of the T. You just never know. And then it's like, oh, I get it. Green energy, light bulbs all over the place. That's impressive. There's some more of that redness right there. Then I was kind of freaked out by this. Second only in scariness to clowns is gnomes. So now we have all these garden gnomes showing up all over the place. Actually, they're pretty cool, I guess. Mimes would be scarier, wouldn't they? And then this just kind of blew my mind. It came up with this. Just this nymph with these ultra green, bright green eyes and this green fingernail and all that stuff. And it just made it up based on the color I chose for the text and, of course, the word green. And then I just want to show you, here's something I just came up with. And this is the shade of red I selected, by the way, for the text color, just in case you're curious what in the world I was talking about. And next, you can, if you don't like that, obviously, I don't have to keep saying this, but I do want to keep saying it. I want to stress that you can select a different one of these variations that's getting created on the fly. Or, of course, you can just go ahead and click on the refresh button in order to start over. And this, my friends, is what is, in my opinion, the most practical application of AI that I have ever seen for purposes of custom text effects. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Don't forget about my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Deke now. Oh, and go to Deke.com and sign up for my newsletter. And if you want to try out these AI type effects for yourself, check out the link in the description. I'm Deke McClellan. This is Deke Now.